Hello everyone, it's Menenberg again doing some multiple choice strategies. Look, test is coming up in May. We're February 3rd right now. It's time to go. Some of you are struggling still to get these multiple choice questions answered. Some of you are really crunched for time, and I'm here to give you a couple tips on how to get to the correct answer while minimally using those stimulus. Look, the stimulus is there to help you, but I think for a lot of students, it gets in the way of your thinking. It trips you up. You rely on it too much, and in so doing, you lose time, you lose your certainty, you start to doubt yourself, and a lot of times you're going to wind up at the wrong answer. So don't do that. Instead, let's look at some questions and hopefully get better at this multiple choice thing together. If you want to follow along, I'm looking at the Unit 6 progress check for AP Modern World History. You don't have to do this. I'm going to screen share, so let's take a look. So in this question, you're going to have an image here. And a lot of you are like, oh, great, it's an image. I can just look at the image and the questions or the answer is going to magically appear to me. No, it's not. Okay, no, it's just not. You need to know your history. Well, first, Menenberg needs coffee. Let's take a second. Okay, so as I've hopefully explained to you on many occasions, you need to not read the question after the stimulus. You need to read the stimulus last, if at all. In this case, I'm going to just skip, ignore it completely, okay? Because it's a distraction. And you're going to be looking for, it's not like some magic eye thing or some like, where's Waldo? I got to find the pen that's hidden under the dude's arm, and it's not it, okay? So stop staring at the thing thinking you're going to get the answer from the picture. No, you're not. Let's look at the question first. Always question first. Question says this. It says Japanese expansion in the late 19th century is most directly explained in the context of the decline of which of the following empires? People, if you read that question first, your absolute first response needs to be, I do not need the stimulus. It's an image. It shows me nothing. It helps in no way. This question is 100% my content knowledge about imperialized Japan in the late 19th century. That's it. That's it. If I don't know this content, then I'm not going to, like I said, the image isn't going to magically tell you the answer. So you better just assume that you've studied, okay? I'm assuming that you've studied, you know some stuff about Japan. So let's look through this. We're looking at Japanese expansion. Imperialism is the word I would use. It's explained in the context of what? A decline of one of the empires. So in other words, if the empire choice A, B, or C, or D is not declining, that's not the answer. If it's not related to Japan, it's not the answer. It's pretty clear, okay? So for this, not only do you need to know some history, but you also need to know some geography, and you need to know where Japan is situated, and more importantly, where they went as they started to imperialize. If you don't know this, it's not going to work. All right, so let's talk about Portugal. Portugal, wow, that takes me back. They might have sent some folks over, some missionaries, maybe, I don't know, years and years, hundreds of years ago. And certainly they might be declining during this time. Fine. Did Japan really do much with Portuguese at this time, 19th century? No, they did not. Spanish Empire, absolutely in decline. In fact, late 19th century is when they decline. Certainly. But are they declining at the hands of the Japanese? No, they are not. They had a little war called the Spanish-American War in 1898, whereby the United States exerted its imperial ambitions and took over former Spanish colonies. Okay, that's not Japan, that's the United States, so I'm eliminating that. D, the Russian Empire. Wow, the Russians, they had a little war with Japan as well. However, that war took place in the early 20th century, 1905, if my memory serves me, and the Japanese won that war. That was a massive signal to the rest of the world that you got to watch out. Japan's serious, they have imperialized, and they are playing for keeps. Okay, they took out Russia. So that's the wrong time period, though. Even if it's only a few years after the 19th century, it's not the 19th century. It's the 1900s. That's different. That's the 20th century, people. Get it. Qing Empire. Absolutely. You all have seen that political cartoon where the Chinese pie is getting carved up by the European and Japanese powers. it's the Qing Empire's decline, and they are the ones who are directly related to the expansion of Japan. Japan gets in there. Japan gets in those lands in mainland Asia, in Eastern Asia, okay? They get there. So we know that's the answer. I didn't look at the image. I don't need to look at the image. And if you do look at the image, it's only going to give you one piece of information that is helpful. And for me, that's already in the question. That's the date. That's the date. It also has in the caption, it says, the guy who they're grieving died in an overseas war. Okay, so that tells me almost nothing because Japan's an island. So if they're expanding, obviously they're going over sea. So that, you know, again, hardly useful at all. But again, people, I just got to emphasize this need for the stimulus needs to go away. And there are occasions where it's going to say the last paragraph, the second line, fine, go look at those. But still, you want to read the question first, because if you aren't in the habit of eliminating one or two choices before you even take a look at the stimulus, you're wasting time. You should have enough historical content knowledge to do that. And if you don't, I would say two things. One, you need to be studying your history. You need to be reading and taking notes and all the rest, and reviewing those notes. Okay, but two, you need to practice this skill of recognizing the historical stuff from the question. Remember, these questions and these stimuli are very pinpoint, right? 1898 in Japan. I didn't study that year in Japan. I don't have that in my brain, but it should tell you that it is about a more broad historical content that you have studied, which is the imperializing of Japan in the latter part of the 19th century. You have studied that. You know some stuff. You know kind of the loose details of what went down and how they industrialized really quickly, and maybe you remember what it was called. It started with an M, I think, and there was a restoration bit, and they went here and here. Well, if you can't remember that stuff, then this question is going to be really, really hard for you people, okay? So make sure you review your history content, but more than that, make sure you're in the practice of identifying the history that you need to get that question right. And you don't need to jump on Wikipedia or do a quick Google search for that person or that image or that date in that area. It's not that specific. It is specific, but the question isn't that specific. The question is much broader. It's more about trends. And the sooner you get that in your brain, the faster you're going to go on these tests, the quicker you're going to get to the right answer, and the more likely it is that you're going to finish this test and do well on it. People, I want to help you. So hit me up with some questions, some comments. Let me know if this is helpful, and let me know what else you need. I'm here for you, and I hope this is working for you. Until next time, though, remember, life is about choices. We'll see you.